Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the world you are. I hope you're doing great and having already an amazing day if you're starting the day or you're just finishing the day with this. Another session with Zero to Hero together with Robert with the topic of 10 things to secure your Entra ID, which is one of the hottest topics nowadays also in the market, how securing your identity provider and access management. Let's move more forward. I'm not willing to take that much of time. I have just 2 to 3 slides just quickly to share together with you. As usual, the next one is about Microsoft Learn. So make it your homepage. This is exactly the richest area that you can access documents, articles, customized training paths, modules, free exam practices that you can access from Microsoft Learn to help you taking your knowledge to the next level, especially with Microsoft AI nowadays. Together with learning rooms, this is the idea within Microsoft Learn tech community to bring professionals, learners, students, fresh graduates from all over the world together within Teams channels, within one community. You can just share, answer questions, ask questions, and share and connect with professionals from all over the world. So don't forget to join learning rooms, aka.ms/learning rooms. You can also access the community, aka.ms/Microsoft Learn communities to tech communities. So you will be finding different kind of learning rooms with different kind of technology categories. A quick review of applied skills. You might have heard or not, applied skills have some differences with Microsoft certifications. So hence with Microsoft certifications, you prove a broad technical proficiency. With applied skills, you just validate one specific skill. You have role-based certification with certifications, and with applied skills, you just do a project-based with different kind of tasks in one scenario. So it's absolutely recommended if you want to prove one skill in your resume, on your CV, once you're applying or once you are trying to showcase your skills. With certifications, it's breadth of skills. Here, as mentioned, the scenario-specific skills you follow during the exam. And here you have exam with interactive elements that you drag and drop, multiple options, multiple choices. With applied skills, you have assessment via interactive lab experience. Actually, it opens an Azure environment for you that you need to solve tasks and projects, follow the project tasks. What are the requirements? What does the project wants from you to configure? And at the end of the session, once you accept it, it evaluates your lab environment within Azure, and it says about your score, and hopefully you pass. Looking forward to it. With Microsoft certifications, you schedule it, you have to schedule it, and you need to show up 15 minutes to 30 minutes prior to the exam and prove your identity, and then exam will be released by a proctor to you. However, with applied skills, it is on demand. You just sign up with the Microsoft Learn profile and you choose applied skills and you just launch it. So you don't need to schedule for applied skills. As usual, with this session, we have 50% of exam discount voucher for the best and challenging question. So Robert will be choosing the best and challenging question and will be providing you a 50% of exam voucher discount. Go to the exam, pass it, mention us, mention Robert, and we'll be so excited to celebrate together with you. Don't forget about Microsoft Backyard. It is we've already released episode 1. The first episode was together with Kerry Herger, Microsoft Learn Worldwide leader. And we are not talking about technical stuff in Microsoft Backyard. It is kind of a podcast, so asking for success stories during the years of doing professional work. So new episodes are coming up. Stay tuned. I'm so excited to not going to spoil, but so excited to share details soon in the sessions. Last but not least, about code of conduct, so being aware of each other, friendly and patient, welcome and respectful, opening to all questions and viewpoints, understanding differences and being kind to each other. With that said, I'm bringing up Robert. Hi, Robert. Good evening. How are you today?
So far, so good. Thank you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time zone. And I always say aloha in that case because I think it's universal for everybody. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And I hope that after 55 minutes from now, people will be happy some new things around the Entra ID and how to secure it.
Amazing. Looking forward to it. So excited. So, Robert, if a quick question, what do you think about Microsoft Learn?
I use that every 2 weeks, I would say, because I'm also an academic teacher and Microsoft MCT. So basically, I am providing to my students paths to learn through the Microsoft Learn. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. And it's good that we are also having the applied skills. Like you said, you can choose only specific skill that you want to be certified, because sometimes you don't need to prove the whole certification path that you know this. You will be working as an expert in one skill, right? So it's amazing that we can do it as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. So yeah, I'm so excited about applied skills, and specifically for your session, looking forward to it. I'm bringing up your slides, and with that said, good luck. I'm going to the backstage.
Okay, so let's start the next session, Microsoft Zero to Hero. So today we are going to talk about 10 things to secure your Entra ID, previously known as Azure ID. But a couple of things about me. Who am I? I'm Robert, Microsoft MVP from security category, working actually in Formula 5 consulting company in the US. And a little bit more about me. Originally, I came from on-premise world, like 10 or 12 years ago. I started my IT career based on the Active Directory tasks. I have built some knowledge about the AD security and AD itself plus PowerShell. Then at some day, cloud era started. So I also started expanding the knowledge through the Azure ID, now Entra ID, ID governance, cloud adoption framework, migrations, and many more things. And the third thing, which I always mention, is security, because it's like a common place for all of the things. So yeah, I got also multiple certificates. I'm an active participant in Log Shields, Cyber Maneuvers. If somebody wants to ping me after this meeting, you can find the contact details over my LinkedIn profile or my website, entra.com. Let's move on, because we are not here to talk about me, but to talk about Entra ID. And basically, this is a good mind map that I'm always using, and I can see that I forgot to put who's the author, but I will do it after this meeting. In a central place, you can see Entra ID. And the reason why I'm showing that is because here you can see from the helicopter point of view how many resources / objects / systems are connected to Entra ID. You can have either Office 365, you can have Teams, you can have some subscriptions, you can have communication things, you can have different tenants even though. So basically more and more things. And this is why we need to protect that. How to do it? Today, I will present you 10 things, 10 steps, which you can decide which one you will be implementing or not, or maybe get familiar with that. But still, these are the things that I think they are core part of the having the secure and usable environment, which are the frameworks, standards, and many more things. But without going through each of them, I will just simply, describing them high level, we will go through each of them. So first thing is frameworks. Within the frameworks, I always start that basically with the one question, if you know what is the MITRE ATT&CK, and I hope yes. MITRE ATT&CK is kind of a framework that can help you find techniques and tactics that were used in the past by the attackers to sneak into the environment. And basically, it's not only for Azure, it's very universal for other platforms as well, like Google, Yahoo, on-premise things, and etc. So even I have it here. If you will take a look at Azure AD, I know it's a previous name. You can see multiple techniques and tactics, which are the tactics are here. The techniques are as a columns. Tactics are inside of them. Basically, You can go and see, for example, if somebody would like to get initial access to your environment and how he can do it, right? Basically, you can see some references. You can see the part about the detection, how you can detect those actions, how you can mitigate them, who in the past tried to do some stuff around the valid accounts within the environment. And if you can take a look at the platforms, you can see that it's applied for more than one platform. Going further, standards. Every time when I'm talking with my colleagues or customers, and there is a discussion about, all right, please propose some good or best practices, how we can make more secure our environments. And every time I'm using the well-known. Well-known by mean is, for me, either SIS Workbench, the NIST, and the CISA. Those are the three things that we can use to make it, to get the nice references or maybe baselines, let's call it the baselines, to make it more secure. And of course, it's not like we are taking every of them and applying without thinking what will happen after that. These are the guidances, right? So we need to think carefully if it will not harm our environment or not. Of course, I have some favorite things from SIS, from NIST, and from CISA, but basically, all in all, every time I'm trying to make a mix of them where it's possible and to get the most secure environment how it's possible, right? What else? Example of SIS Workbench, right? I have a demo here, but actually I have decided that it would be better if we'll go through the web browser and tour. If we'll go to the benchmarks and choose Azure, we will get a lot of Azure related benchmarks. Let's take a look for Azure Foundation. The highest version is 3.0. So basically, if we will go there, on the left side, we will get the huge list of the topics. And for example, if we will take a look at the identity, we can go through all of them, like for the conditional access and other things. But the thing that I like the most is about where was it? And again, I lost that from my eyes. There is one nice feature, but never mind. I will not focus on that. I will choose only the one. Yeah, ensure that restrict non-admin users from creating tenants is set to yes. I just taking it as an example because what I want to show you is that you will have always description, you will have impact, you will have always procedure, audit procedure part, meaning that you can check what is set and what is not set. Then sometimes you will have a PowerShell, meaning that by automation way of how to configure that. And then again, you will have MITRE ATT&CK mappings. If it's possible, you will get such a. And maybe here we can go to user can register applications. And do we have any MITRE ATT&CK mappings? No, we don't. Yeah, here we have. User can create security groups in Azure portals. Everything is the same, like assessment status, applicable profiles, audit procedure, remediation procedure, and many more, but also it's mapped to the specific techniques from MITRE ATT&CK. This is why always I'm showing the MITRE ATT&CK first, and then showing the SIS Workbench, because it's connected somehow, right? We can say connected somehow. And by the way, learn Microsoft.com references are also here. So yeah, funny coincidence. When it comes to the next slide, it was about the demo that I already did. But sorry, there is also one thing that I want to show you. I just realized that I forgot to put it here. Okay, give me a second. As always, sometimes we forgot about some materials, and then we need to do it live. When it comes to CISA, we have also foundation baseline for Microsoft Azure Active Directory. I know, old naming, but I just want to show you that there are examples of it, right? It's like a 25 pages long document that will guide you step by step what to do and how to do. If you want, for example, do it automated way, there is a nice tool called Scuba Gear, where you can do the test automated way. It's also having some baselines, but the good thing is that it will produce output that can be included into the MITRE navigator, and then it can be mapped to your system. So you can create one pager that will be showing where you are with the security settings. And as an example, I think I don't have an example right now, but as always, MITRE attack navigator should have some example. If you allow sources, then you will be able to analyze that and create this kind of one pager that will have all the tactics and techniques that are applicable to your environment. From my point of view, it's very good to have such a knowledge, and it's also good to connect multiple tools where it's possible in order to make it more secure, right? And not to go and click next. All right, it's different. I need to write that there is a difference between the recommendation and the actual setup. It will be done most automated way. Moving on, and now we need to move on back to the slide because I broke the animation, and we need to have also joy about the animation. Zero trust. I hope that all of you know zero trust. And we can ask one question: how you understand what is the zero trust? It's open question, not for the, there is no gift for that. It would be great if somebody will think, at least privately, if we know what is the zero trust. Zero trust is a framework. Actually, now it's a zero trust framework, well known, established by Microsoft in a similar way like Cloud Adoption Framework, where you have some steps like defining strategy, planning, readiness, adoption, governance, and managing the implementation. But from the technical point of view, not from the project or framework point of view, we have a couple of pillars like identities, like endpoints, like, for example, network, data, applications, and infrastructure. All of them are using features, of course, from Microsoft Word, like, for example, MFA, Purview, for example. What else we can use? We can use some web application firewalls. We can use some infrastructure as a code deployments, Defender for something, because there is a huge family of the Defender products. But all in all, we need to understand that, firstly, we need to implement zero trust on the fundamentals, which are identities and the endpoints. Because if we will take a look at how we are accessing the application, our in-house application, is always the same. First, I need to log into laptop using my identity, so identity first. Then I need to log into device, which is my laptop, so endpoint secondly. It also should be secure. And then I'm going to application, and based on that, I'm using data from one part of the environment or another that could be hosted on the infrastructure. And this is also going through the network. So this is why zero trust framework is a very important thing. But I also understand that it could be hard to consider as an easy thing to implement. But thankfully, Microsoft creates something called Zero Trust Security Posture Evaluation, where you can go through all of those pillars, like 6 of them, and answer the survey and fill the survey that will ask you some questions. And at the end, it will give you the recommendations. You need to go that way or that way. Have you consider implementing specific setup. Have you enabled some things? For example, on endpoint, are devices registered with identity provider? Yes, let's imagine that we are going through the process. Are devices enrolled with MDM? Not consistently. Are managed devices required to be compliant? No, they are not. Of course, it's not the live case. Do you have a model for users to connect organizational resources? No, we don't have. Some not consistently. And for here, if we will do it, yes, some devices. And then voila, we have information. What should we do in order to make it more secure, like enrolling to MDM, managing the devices, all those things you can do for each of the pillars. So it will help you to understand where you are actually with the process, because you might also be thinking that I have implemented some things in the environment, but I don't know how they are compliant with Zero Trust. It can help you with that. When it comes to the real technicality case, you can go through this page, which I will paste over the chat. Yeah. So basically, you can go through the areas, the pillars of the Zero Trust. For example, identity, the closer to me topic. Then you can see how many things we should consider when it comes to securing identity. For example, is it a federation with on-premises? Is it is there any foundation established for Entra ID? Do we have any applications which are not connected to the Entra ID? Maybe we should try to integrate them. Then conditional access policies, we should also consider that. And basically for the conditional access policies is also a nice thing, because if you will type in a Google conditional access policies, Zero Trust, then we will be moved to the article. Where is the article? Let me check my different screen, because I have it on a different screen. Yeah, I have it in a incognito mode. The history is not moving as it should. So basically, there is a thing called conditional access for Zero Trust. If you will go through the specific this specific article, you will get knowledge about how to implement that. What are the design principles? What are the personas? And how to handle the whole implementation. Fun thing is that inside of this article, and I will not show that by design, I would say, you can find the Excel file that will be showing you the best practices when it comes to implementation of the conditional access policies from Zero Trust perspective. It will be like Excel with a lot of pages inside, providing recommendations for the specific setup, right? These are the personas types that I mentioned, and I would say that it will be great if you spend some time with this material and go through it to find the Excel, because it's in here, and yeah, it can help you a lot with making your environment more secure. So yeah, demo already did. Then basic setup, the fourth part that we need to discuss. Normally, when I talk with my customers, it's always the same, like, what do you mean by basic Entra ID configuration? And I got the information like domain verification, setup of the Entra Connect, license assignment, login screen setup, and then we need to start working, because it needs to be working and providing authentication for the applications. But what I noticed is that people are forgetting about some other things like access to Entra ID portal. Do we need all of the users be able to access Entra ID portal, or only the people who have specific roles? There is a possibility to set it up. Then do we need to allow to everybody register applications. Then is anybody need SSPR? There are some examples in the past that SSPR was cause of the problems. Then who can create the groups? Who cannot create the groups? Then if we need to have external identities, or do we have any auditing in place? These are the things also that we need to be careful, and we need to consider as a steps that should be done every time within the our environment setup. And where we can find those? Of course, it's obvious in Entra ID. So basically, if we will go to user settings, then we need to check what are the settings here. By default, yes, yes, yes. Meaning that user can register application, and then for me, it's like a vector of attack, because if I'm a user, I can register application, I can click yes, 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 because who's reading the whole setup? And then somebody will came and said, we lost the data because some applications are using our data to exchange it outside of our environment, and we are losing the data such as usernames, emails, and etc. We can be very easily farm of the spam destinations, right? So basically, we need to restrict that. And then who can access the administrator center? Meaning that if we will click yes, only people who have any Entra ID roles will be able to view the setup. Then similar for the groups, we also have some group settings, who can do what. Then with the applications, also we can set something. We can, for example, go here, consent and permissions, and configure who can provide the admin consent, who not, and why we want to do it. So another example would be also from identity. It will be show more, monitoring and health, audit logs. If we have any audit logs, sorry, not this one, signing logs as well, we need to enable that, of course, and have Entra ID P1 license, but it will help us to, yeah, I don't have access in my own tenant, but it will help us to analyze the behavior. For example, if we will have scenario when we are using break glass account, we need also to implement some specific alerts based on the log analytics that are gathering logs from the Entra ID. Going back, and again, I skipped the demo. Emergency access, like I said, break glass account that can be used for emergency access when something will hit the fan. How we should prepare for that? First of all, you should think privately. Have you ever had a major outage in your environment? Have you ever lost access? I mean, by cutting your hands to the environment by mistake. I guess everybody had something like that. The thing is, we need to know how to predict and how to prevent such actions. How we can handle that? It's simple. We can handle that by conditional access, of course, but also by cloud break glass account. This is like the last line of the defense for us, right? What are the requirements? It should be account that will be used in case of any emergency, not like a daily routine for admins. Then it should be having complex password, and it will be the best if it will not have password, but for example, it will be using YubiKey, something like that, or any other FIDO key, because password could be known by one person, and of course we can divide password into two parts, stored in the secure envelopes, and etc. But with the key, it's simple case. One person is holding the key, another person is holding the pin to the key. So basically, also it can be automated by authentication strength to enforce FIDO key usage instead of password and login. Then this account should be on Microsoft.com. It should be called something so-called cloud account. Why? Because we don't want to have it synchronized from on-premise, first of all, and we don't want to put any domain name on that, just to avoid situation that it will be exposed somewhere. We need to monitor that, and we need to exclude that from some of the setup, like conditional access, identity protection, and MFA. Why? Because in case of emergency, we don't want to spend time in emotions that, where's the MFA, who's doing that, why we can't go here. We need to have direct line to the environment, and this is why this account has to be a global admin permanently. How it looks from the architecture point of view, we have a John Doe who is our break-glass admin, and this specific user will be monitored by Entra ID logs, diagnostic logs, by successful login, fail login, account update, and any other modification of such account. Then, if something will happen, automatic alert will be triggered and then sent to the specific people. And by the way, I need just to do one thing because I have some good materials to share. Give me a second. I have some articles about that. So basically, yeah, first link would be here about the zero trust, all the things that I was sharing with you. And then move on. I need to find another one. Yeah. Speaking about the break-glass. And here you have also the break-glass example and the whole article, how to do it, why we want to set it that way, not the other way. So moving forward, how it looks. We have a tenant. We need to create a user. In my case, it will be BG in the brackets. Sometimes in my test environments, I'm using just in case name, just to play with the name. As we can see, this user is having the global admin privileges. Then he will be excluded from all of the conditional access policies. In that case, zero trust one, they are called. So as you can see, user is excluded. Why? Because we don't want to have a situation that in case of emergency, I will be blocked and then nobody will help us. Of course, if we are using the CSP provider as a provider for our Azure environment, he can help us, but all in all, we need to know that something can go wrong as well. This is why we want to prevent that. And then the diagnostic settings, we have a Sentinel, log analytics workspace called Sentinel, and then I will be showing alerts. Simple alert that somebody tried to log in but failed or succeed. Logic is very simple, and it's also mentioned within my blog. Part of the first part of the meeting is done today. So without any break, we will go to the next phase, which is the number 6, access to the cloud, control access to the cloud. How we can control access to the cloud? So basically, open question, how we are controlling access to the cloud? 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. We can use named locations, for example. We can enforce MFA. Do you actually use MFA every time? We all know that like 7 days ago, Microsoft released MFA for all admins in Azure, which is very good. But all in all, still, we need to block legacy authentication. We need to enforce terms of use. For example, we can get the access from the compliant devices, limiting guest users by, for example, identity governance, and configuring Microsoft Defender for cloud apps. Of course, conditional access on top of it, yeah. But if you will take a look, you will see that the diagrams here are exposing the conditional access usage, right? Because here you have a signals, then you have a action, and then you have access. For example, if I will be accessing from my workstation, from home, I will be asked for MFA, and then if I will do the successful MFA process, I will go through the environment to the resources that I'm interested, right? So small example about the conditional access, and here, like I said, there is a nice resource for the conditional access. Who gets to log on from the resources? Yeah, Alin, I guess it's like a, yeah, additional to what I said, not like a question. So for example, MFA for the users, it's an example, right? Because there could be a lot of other additional conditional access policies, and I will highly recommend you to go through the mentioned mystery Excel file and find what could be used in your environment, because from my experience, every customer wants to use some of the things from this Excel file. Going further, passwordless, my favorite case, because like I said, I'm using the FIDO key, not only one, but question is, again, normally in the past, we got login and password that was moving with us. Every company, we got one new account and one new password. Actually, we were changing that either 30 or 90 days, every 90 days. But now, according to the latest NIST recommendation, which is of course in a draft, if you can leave the password without any change permanently, if you are using it from the, if it's memorized password, not using the password managers, then there is a solution of what to do, right? So basically, NIST is showing us, all right, we can still keep passwords forever the same, but in some specific circumstances, right? What is the passwordless? It's like addition to this, right? Because we can get some other things. First of all, would be that it could be a physical key. For example, FIDO key. It doesn't matter if it will be YubiKey, FATIA, and trusted technologies on any other device. If it's a FIDO2 compliant, it will work according to the rules, right? So you will plug into the laptop or workstation, let's call it system. You will be asked to touch it or to scan your fingerprint, and then you will get access. In my case, fingerprint sensor is not working because my fingers are always sweat. So yeah, I'm using the touch one. Then, I don't know if you are aware, but our phone, meaning that authenticator, could work in a passwordless mode, because you can have a push or passwordless mode working there. We can be the password because we can use Windows Hello for Business as a part of securing and our identities, right? And it works pretty well. Actually, I'm using it very heavily on my private and corporate devices because I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to provide a password. I want to find a solution how to do it without password. So either FIDO key or, for example, certificates, which are the next one, or the biometric. Just wondering, do you recommend using Windows Hello in an environment where TPM might have vulnerabilities? Good question. Very good question. So it's always a matter of asking ourselves if there is easy path to access TPM vulnerabilities, or it's easier for somebody to break our identity security, right? I would say that Windows Hello would be good to implement. And then, of course, if you have some TPM issues, you might consider either changing the provider, or maybe the other manufacturer of your device to have a TPM without any vulnerabilities, or you can accept the risk that, okay, there is a TPM vulnerability, but the bigger risk would be not to implement Windows Hello for Business. Sometimes maybe the Windows Hello for Business might be not the right choice for you because you're afraid about TPM case. Then you can go, for example, for certificate-based authentication, which is also possible in a cloud. And I hope, Eshan, that I answered your question. How to configure the passwordless? We can go to the authentication methods. Then we have some options like to assign people or groups, configure specific things. There is a lot of setup right here. I will skip the page about the configuration. Now you can see that yeah, of course it's in Polish. Sorry for that, my native language, because I live in Poland. But we will go through the process again, and I will click pause. Here there is a standard login window, right? Hello, please log in. Then I can click login using the physical key. So the login process will switch to the passwordless login, and then it will ask me to put in the key into the USB, then touch it, provide the PIN, and voila, I'm in. But there is another way how to do it that will be described in the next slide. But before going there, I will try to check what Eshan also wrote. Because some computers might be old, some new, and have different versions of TPM, we are considering this strategy for environment. We would like to know your thoughts on this. Like I said, Eshan, I will take a piece of paper, draw a line, and do pros and cons of Windows Hello for Business, if it will be implemented, and if it will not be implemented, what are the weaknesses, and then decide, all right, for those we cannot go with the Windows Hello for Business, but maybe CBA, certificate-based authentication, can be also like a passwordless for us. That will be easier for authenticate of the users. And I'm happy that you're satisfied with the answer. Alin, yeah, the conjunction might be also a good idea. On the next slide, I would like to highlight something which is close to the passwordless, to the breakless account, and the security of the highest privileged accounts like global admins, security admins, VIPs, C-level, and so on. For some time now, we can fix something which was missing in the conditional access policies, because normally you were able to configure everything, how to access that you cannot access from specific network or countries, you need to be compliant, and etc. But always there was a problem that you need to click this button, login using physical key, and then the passwordless login was brought up into your account. It was solved by authentication strength, because now it's showing you 3 areas like multi-factor authentication, passwordless multi-factor authentication, and phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication. Those are the things that we can, for example, set in the nice way, but I will focus only on the phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication, because you can choose from either Windows Hello for Business, certificates, or FIDO2 to create specific setup that will use conditional access for your account, and then at the end it will it will enforce FIDO or any of those FIDO, Windows Hello, or certificates authentication method, instead of giving you possibility to provide username and password, right? It will be enforced. You will not be asked for the password. So I have a demo set up here, which will be showing you how to configure that, like from the system level, like authentication methods. We have authentication strength, we have phishing resistant, and any other things like passwordless and MFA. By the way, if you will hear my dog, sorry for that, but he was yelling a lot because he's missing me. It's like a 1.5-year-old dog, and yeah, he likes his daddy. So basically, we have some things here, but what I want to show you is that you can configure, and it's not here. I will go to the environment. I want to show you that within the conditional access policy, you can create such a setup, right? So let's move on to, where was it? Protection, yeah, conditional access. Here, for example, you can go to the policies and require authentication strength, phishing resistant, grant. Here, instead of using standard MFA, you can switch to require authentication strength and choose one of the either previously deployed by Microsoft, or you can create your own authentication strength setup. So basically, in that case, if I will click phishing resistant, standard MFA will not work. But during the login process, all the users that will be specified here, for example, account called Agnieszka, will be asked to put the key into the USB and then log in. For me, it's a good thing to cover break glass account, for example. And Aline, that's a good question. I will answer to that in a minute. For highest privileges and, for example, for VIPs. And I've got the same question or similar question in the past that you wrote, Aline. What methods are the prevent token theft in context of bad actors hijacking authentication sessions? For example, if you are using the standard MFA, your token might be hijacked if somebody is using, for example, Evil Jinx software, right? He can do something and hijack the session, because then he will hijack the token, because it will be the token will be having information about your password and your login. But if you are using passwordless, phishing-resistant passwordless, like, for example, FIDO key, there won't be information in the token about user, but only the string of the characters that are coming from the FIDO key. So basically, it will not be easy to steal the token. And I hope that it answers your question. Moving on. Number 9, privileged accounts. Yeah, we have also time limited to token, right? And we can also control session lifetime, for example, in our environment. There are a lot of options how we can control that, right? To be honest, there is no one rule that will work for everybody. It's more like company or slash environment specific regulations that will be applicable for some of the solutions, because we have financial companies, we have healthcare companies, we have manufacturing companies, we have car distribution companies, and many more things, right? Like groceries and other stuff. There are different regulations, different requirements. So in fact, it's up to us which part of the security we will choose to implement. But there is a huge list of the options. But at the end, we need to choose the one that are applicable with the regulations. And going to the privileged accounts, here, I guess you know that. I hope that most of the people know, if some of them not, but you can control, for example, time. You can implement just-in-time access for your account to make sure that it will not be holding global admin privilege all the time, but it will get only in case of any need. So basically, in order to do this, you need to implement PIM, right? In the old days, you have to ask global admin to enable PIM, and then configure the roles. But nowadays, you have option that, for example, you are configuring the roles, assigning users to the roles, and then, for example, user 1 wants to have Exchange online admin, so he has to go to the PIM, to Entra ID PIM actually, then ask for the Exchange online privilege. Somebody will have to approve that or not. It could be auto-approved as well. If the approval will be accepted, then the information is getting back to the system, and then for the specific time, role is assigned. Situation is easy to implement, but every time when I'm talking with my customers and I'm implementing the PIM, I putting the similarity to tiering in on-premises, like tier 0, 1, and 2. By tier 0, I'm assigning the highest privileges in the environment, like Exchange admin, Exchange Online admin, sorry, global admin, security admin, and a couple of others. Then application specific is tier 1, and then readers is tier 2. And all of them are marked to those tiers because there are some specific guidances and rules that I'm using every time in order to set the right configuration. Tier 0, only maximum 1 hour assignment, require approvals, all the monitoring and etc. Tier 1, maybe more, like 4 hours maximum, but it depends. Approvals, MFA, and other things, and readers, for example, 8 hours. It's always case for the discussion with the customer how we will handle those requirements, but always I'm putting this tiering model that we should configure or consider. And the reason why, because it's simple. If you are a global admin and doing something for more than 1 hour, either you are doing it wrong or you should not get the global admin privileges, because global admin should work immediately and fast without keeping the active role assignment forever. The last part that we will have today, and I can see I have 8 more minutes, is conditional access. Simple case, but sometimes forgotten. We need to remember that we have conditions, we have control, we have access to the data. At some point, we can also have identity protection that will step in and mark our authentication in the specific way that maybe something is happening with our access, that we are having impossible travel, for example, that 5 minutes ago we were logging from Seattle, and then after 5 minutes we are logging from Vietnam, for example. So this is the good thing, that at some point it will require MFA, it will ask us to require MFA or change password, or sometimes maybe it will ask us to block the access. How we can configure that? I shared that multiple times today, I guess. So moving to the end of the session, I would say that please consider going through each of the things that I discussed today and think if it's applicable in my company. Maybe it will be worth to consider that. Of course, if you would need any text exchange with me or have any questions or doubts, ping me on the LinkedIn. I'm always happy to help people. And I think that now it will be good to go with the QA. If there will be any questions, please shoot them. And then if you want to go to my blog to get some knowledge about what I'm doing on everyday basis, go to entrablog.com. This is the place where I'm posting articles from time to time. I have also a GitHub repo, which could be found also on my blog. So yeah, now would be the time for questions. If there will be no questions, then we will close the call.
Amazing, Robert. Thanks much for this great session. I really love it, especially the amazing tips. I
hope that it helped somehow.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was one of the sessions that I was just listening from very first minute that you started. We got several questions.
Yeah.
I myself also got some questions. I will highlight them on the screen, despite you were already answering some of the questions here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Of course, let's go one by one.
This one. Who gets to log on to cloud resources from what device, from what location?
It was also described, I think. I remember okay. that we covered that.
We have this one from Ehsan.
Yeah, it was also covered about the situation with the TPN.
Okay. Other questions? Yeah, we have this last one.
who can implement a privileged access management PAM strategy using Entra ID to ensure that only Tier 1 admins have access to specific servers and resources. There are some third-party products that you can use, but there is also possibility to implement that in a secure way. It depends if you have, for example, on-premise Active Directory, because for servers sometimes you need to authenticate with the on-prem ID. There are possibilities. Ashan, I hope that I'm pronouncing it correctly. I would say that, yeah, you can reach out to me, and then I would love to get the discussion in a back. Moving to the next question.
We have this one from Aline.
In your real-life project assignments, how do clients generally go about adopting Cloud Entra ID as a source of truth identity, and how often do you need to implement a hybrid? So basically, there is no like a straight line that 20% is a hybrid, the rest is on pure cloud. Word is not perfect, and we all know that some systems will require on-premise ID because some old legacy applications have to authenticate. So I would say that part of the system of the implementations is a hybrid word. The another part is also a cloud word, but sometimes we are also making migrations from other identity vendors like Okta, for example, to Entra ID. So it's still in the game, I would say, hybrid plus Entra ID configuration. As a part of the Zero Trust implementation, there is a step that needs to understand and approve that Entra ID will be your primary identity provider for the cloud. So then I guess, Aline, it will answer your question.
Perfect. And the next question, I'm not sure if this is a question. If you display the links you shared today on screen, viewers. That I was also gonna ask. So Robert, if you're okay, that we can share your slides also. So if you
of course. After the session, I will share my slides with organizers, so the session will be available for you as well. Plus the links, all the links will be available in the notes field for each of the slides.
Amazing. So as soon as we stop streaming on StreamYard, so the session will be immediately available on YouTube. And afterwards, we already promote the session on LinkedIn and socials and also on Learning Room. So as soon as I get also anything we would like to share with the audience, I will also put on that promotion post so everyone can access.
Of course, I will prepare the book of the links.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect. So coming to the last topic, voucher. So Robert, which question do you think?
Which question? I think the one with the TPN was the nice one.
From
yeah, from Ashan.
Yeah, Ehsan, could you please send a message to us?
Congrats, Ashan, by the way.
Congratulations! I'm looking forward to you pass the exam and mention Robert and us, and so we'll be celebrating together. And I know you from the community. Please send a message to us in LinkedIn, and I'll be sending you. If you share your email address, I'll be sending you 50% exam voucher discount. And congrats in advance.
Yeah.
We have extra question coming from Mehdi. I see. Yeah.
When we want to publish a SaaS solution on the Azure Marketplace, we have to implement Microsoft Entra ID as a part of the SaaS. Can we enforce users to use additional authentication method in addition to a password and mobile, such as specific USB fingerprint scanner with a specific serial number? Basically, within the authentication methods, you have the list of the authentication methods that are allowed to use, right? I have never implemented this specific case to have a fingerprint scanner plus specific serial number, right? I did that in the on-premises, but not from the cloud. So I would say that it would be worth to check what are the latest authentication methods available over the cloud.
Perfect. Sounds good. No more questions.
And yeah, I'm preparing the list of the links. So yeah, you will get it right after the meeting.
Sounds amazing. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
Really,
and thank you. It was a pleasure to deliver the session. I hope that everybody finds something interesting for each other, everybody. So yeah, can't wait for the next session that I will be delivering on December.
indeed. And I personally so much enjoyed the session. Thanks for delivering the session today. And in this late time also, I believe we are also the same time zone. It's 9 p.m. So looking forward to the second session together with you, Robert. And thanks much. Thanks everyone for joining. I saw we had an amazing audience also, like in LinkedIn and also YouTube and StreamYard. So until next time, thanks everyone.
Exactly. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye bye.